Hey everybody, I'm back again with another quick tip on how to get your Unfolded Circle Remote 3 or Remote 2 if you're buying a used one off someone. How to get it, customized and built and configured the way you want to be using it. I've got several of these now that I'm putting together, and make sure you watch all of them. But if you need to go back and refresh, I've got the hour and a half long full install integrations and set up an activity in the remote, but I'm doing shorter clips this time around to try and create a nice library of things to do. So today, this one is going to be about building out the user interface and the remote, and mainly we're going to talk about the screen and how to use the screen and customize it the way that you want to. It's really cool, and it's actually super powerful when you really look at it. So because I've got these kind of all set up and configured, I'm going to just add a new activity. But just to take a quick look, I've got Home Assistant, Apple TV, Lumagen Radiance Pro, the Storm Audio, the projector, and Kaleidoscape. These are all integrations. So these are all two-way communications. The only thing I'm using that's not an integration is the Sony Blu-ray player right now. And I think there's an integration that someone is creating that's going to allow me to get that in there, even though it's an old one. So I'm excited about that too. So for activities and macros, let's create a new activity. And I'm going to call this YouTube demo, just because I'm not going to keep this. But in this activity, these are lighting integration, or these are lighting scenes that are coming in through the Home Assistant integration. So let's bring those in. We don't need the IR remote because we have now an integration that's just still there. We're going to use the Apple TV integration. This is an activity. I'm not going to bring one activity into another activity. I don't need the Blu-ray. These are also, this is just my all-on lighting, so I'm going to do that, but the other three are already there, so I'm going to do those. The Remote 3, this is the Lumagen remote. We're going to need that. We're going to need the Storm Audio. We're going to need the projector. Actually, I want the media player for the projector. No, I don't. Which one of these is which? This is the one I want. I don't need any of these other scenes and stuff, and I don't need the Kaleidoscape. I can always come back and add more if I realize that I don't have what I need. So sequences, I'm not going to go through this. This is a power up and a power down sequence. So basically, I'm just taking the entities that I have and laying them out, and I'm going to have it turn on the projector, turn on the Lumagen, turn on the Storm Audio, turn on the Apple TV, and that's really it. I might need to add delays in there, and then I'm going to turn them all off at the end of it. So what we want to get into is the user interface and how we're going to customize this. So the first thing, buttons, this will be an Apple TV focused in activity. So, we would just go in here and you just type in, so cursor up is what we want. Down, we want cursor down. You can see all of the different entities that are brought in by the remotes are all available here. So I only brought in that maybe 8, I think, things, but all the commands within are now available here. So this is right. So we want cursor right. And I think left we still need to do. So this is how Why did I do that? I want left. I was talking and not thinking. So now we've got this. Oh, we need the okay. Nope. Enter. Cursor enter. There we go. So now the touchpad is there. For here, we would do volume from the Storm Audio media player. Volume down would be from the Storm Audio media player. And mute, again, from the Storm Audio media player, because my Storm Audio is the receiver that I power, it's my switcher and powers everything for my speakers, and that's what I use to control the volume. Other than that, it'll all be Apple TV. Okay, so that's the basics of the buttons. You can do skip, play, pause, etc., but I'm just gonna leave it for here for now. These are buttons. You can also program long presses. I'm not going to get into that. We're going to talk about the interface. So this is where it gets fun. What I do on all of my media player activities, first thing I add is the media widget. And I want the Apple TV integration here, because that's what's going to tell me what is actually playing back. So now this is going to, over here on the left, it'll have the movie artwork, it'll have the name, where it's from, and a progress indicator. I can also see the little corner here has that little grabber on it. I can make it fill up the whole screen if I want, and it will automatically adjust the format. I can make it this way, and I can have some lighting control here, or, whatever I need. I can do all kinds of this stuff, but I can also change how much I can fine tune the grid. This is the default is 4:6, but you can go up to 8:12 on the grid, and then you can get a lot more. I guess the media widgets always need to be full width, but you could do this. And then let's go here. Let's start adding we'll just add them as text right now, because sorry, I just completely stopped talking there. We'll do them as text right now because I don't have logos imported. The app switcher, that's an Apple TV. So Apple TV, does it have it in here? Input source. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So input source on the Apple TV has all my apps. These are all the apps that I have on my Apple TV. And it knows that because two-way communication, it doesn't just send commands to the Apple TV, it also receives commands from the Apple TV. So I could put a Plex button right there. I could call it Plex. And maybe I want to make it a little wider, because Plex probably does. I don't know, they did figure out how to make it fit, but I'm going to edit that. So up here, I can select several, so I can delete many or move several. I can edit, which brings this back up, and I can make it twice as wide, twice as tall, or much larger, much different. I can convert it to an icon. So then here I would go here. And again, I could add, I do have a Plex icon in there already. So I can do that. And now I have a little Plex button, and I can make it bigger. I can make it smaller. I can make it whatever I want. And that was the input source for the Apple TV. So I could add another one of those here and make it an icon and make it input source on the Apple TV. And maybe I want to make this the TV app. This is the Apple TV app. And the icon for this, I'm going to do, I guess I don't have a TV Plus, so I'll just put this in there for now. Because again, I can always change it later. So here now, once I'm in the Apple TV integrate or activity here, I can just click these and it'll automatically go into those apps just that quick and that fast. Oops. So that one, we're going to move it. I want to just put that there. And I can make all these different buttons to go directly to apps. I don't even know. Those are those are the two main ones. Those are the two main apps that I use on my Apple TV. I go into the Apple TV app and that takes me out to pretty much everything else. So I don't use all these, but HBO Max, that's on there. Yeah, we have HBO Max. And again, I don't have, you can, they're on the Discord. People are starting to also build icon repositories. So you can get all these pre-made from a lot of people who are helping out by uploading what they're creating. But I just have what I've already loaded. You can have a total separate thing here. You can do, I'll add this. I don't even know what that's for, how it got there, but it's there. And now I'm going to make that for, and maybe I want to do another one, but I don't want to do the custom logo. Maybe I want to, what's another app I've got? YouTube. So maybe I'll just call this one YouTube and use text. And you don't need to, they don't all have to be the same. If I want, this one to be twice as tall because it just makes more sense there, that's fine. Let's make some lights here. Let's go with I don't want those, or maybe those are the ones I want. Yeah, those are the ones I want. So let's go to theater play. This turns all the lights off. And in reality, this automatically happens when Home Assistant sees the playback device going into playback mode. But I'm going to just manually add it here, and autocorrect is always going to screw with me. So I'll just do it there. And then I have another one here that is welcome. And this will actually turn the lights on to what I have them set when we walk into the room. Didn't take that. I need to edit the anchor, this light. Okay, there we go. And then I also have a dim light setting. So if someone has to get up and use the restroom, this brings the lights some of the way up so you can see what you're doing, but not so much that everyone's eyes have to adjust again. So I can have all these little buttons, and maybe I decide I want the media player bigger. So I'm just going to select all of these, and I'm going to, well, maybe I can't do that. Oh, I can't do that. I'd have to move them all down individually, but that's not very hard. I just bring those down, bring those down, bring those down, and then make this bigger. Okay? This is really powerful. This is all just one page. If you want to make another page, you just click there, and maybe this one is all going to be Lumagen controls. Lumagen is a great video processor that I have that does all my tone mapping for the projector. So now I've got this, and maybe for this one, maybe I only need 6 buttons. Now I have 6 buttons. Maybe I want to have this many buttons. Maybe I want to have this many buttons. You just do whatever it is that fits your needs. This could all be this. If you're, if you watch a lot of live television, you could just set every channel up here with an icon and direct access to whatever it is that whatever device that you watch them from. So for the Lumagen, I think this I don't really need an icon, but we got it. So Lumagen, we would do, I could, one thing I think would be really nice would be to have some pre-configured, like a number pad, but they don't have that. But one thing I always need with the Lumagen, because there are directors out there who can't seem to make up their mind, I need to be able to lock in the aspect ratio. I have a, where do I convert it? Maybe, can you not? Let's just do that. Edit. Can we convert it now? Yeah, convert to text. So we've got directors like Christopher Nolan out there who can't choose an aspect ratio and stick with it. And so I don't want it switching back and forth. I have a nice big CinemaScope aspect ratio screen because that's what I want to see. So, and there's nothing of value in any of those extra pixels anyway. So with this button, I can lock it in at 2.4:1 CinemaScope aspect ratio and ignore all the gimmicky stuff that Nolan uses to charge more for tickets. And I can then also add, let's put it's got nonlinear stretch. I never use, see, there's so many things that I don't use. I just, let's do auto aspect enable. So this automatically senses the aspect ratio, so that you don't have to even, if for normal good movie directors who choose an aspect ratio and stick with it, the Lumagen automatically senses that aspect ratio and frames it accordingly within my CinemaScope ratio screen. So this is always on, but if for whatever reason I wanted to flip it back and show people how stupid variable aspect ratio is, I can turn auto enable on, and I can then turn it back off. So they can see how things would go back and forth, and then I can put it back on when it's on 2.4, or I can click it there. I can add all these different aspect ratios here as well. So if I just go in here, Lumagen, sometimes when you're watching old content, old movies that are in a wider aspect ratio, but they don't have good black level on the letterboxing, sometimes it's hard for the Lumagen to sense it based on that. So you do have to manually tell it, oh, this is the Academy aspect ratio, this is 1.85, or this is 2.10, this is 2.20, that's like 2001. So you can manually lock it into a specific aspect ratio if you need to. But again, most of the time, the automatic setting will sense and lock it in and enable it, and you don't have to do anything. So anyway, that is, and again, after we've done that, maybe we change our mind and we want to make it this, and now look, there's 4:5. So you can really, it's like adding, it'll tell you if you can't do it because of what you've already added. But yeah, it's like adding a table in Word, where you just select how many columns, how many rows within the limits, and then you go work accordingly. And again, you can always make things different shapes along that grid, and maybe then you want to do this, and now you have more, and you can move things around and make that bigger. And now, we better make this. And now if we want to, we could delete that page and just create a new one, or you can just select. You could copy those and move them to another new page. So that's this page. And now you just paste. Maybe not. Didn't do that. Didn't take that. So let's try that again. Select, copy, 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 untitled, paste. It's not doing it. Anyway, there are other things you can do here. If I go and like maybe I really liked this Lumagen page, I can go here and I can copy that whole screen and I can go to a different activity and I can paste that whole page here. The one thing you have to remember when you're doing that is that all of the entities included on this page have to previously be added to this activity before you can do this. Otherwise, it's not going to let you. But that is this one, so I'm going to delete that page because I don't want that page. I already have all those programmed into my Lumagen page right here. But really cool, really powerful, and it can be really frustrating. I understand it, but don't give up, because once you're done configuring this thing, it's really worth it. It's really, really, really worth it. You can really get into the weeds with some of this stuff. You know, between those direct input source commands, the app switcher, you can go into the screensaver. A good integration is definitely your friend, and you want to play around, figure them out. Once you're done, before you try turning it on and testing it, reboot your remote. You'll be glad you did, because that just kind of settles everything in, clears everything up, and locks it and gets it ready to go. All right. That is going to be it for today. If you have other processes that you're struggling with, let me know in the comments below, and I'll try and do some more of these periodically and try and build a nice library for folks to get these things configured and set up. Again, integrations are starting to come faster and faster all the time. The remotes are as they hit more people's hands, as they land on more doorsteps, more developers are getting their hands on them, and they're building out integrations to control the equipment that they're using. And there's such a wide variety of equipment and combinations that there's going to be some trial and error. There's going to be some things that you might have to learn IR from your existing remotes. I've had to do that as well. You know, the Sony Blu-ray is still running off IR. Storm Audio, I had to run that off IR, at least for the volume control for a while. And it's just, you know, just keep your ears open, and you'll hear when there's more integrations coming. They have a page here on Unfolded Circle. If you go to Unfolded Supported Devices here, it lists out all of the kind of completed and officially released integrations that folks have put together. There's still, like, there are some on here, like the Storm Audio. It's not officially on here yet, but it's pretty rock solid, and I'm guessing he'll be posting that soon. I've just kind of been testing it for him and helping to get it set up the way Storm users. He doesn't have a Storm processor, so he's using a Trinov. But I'm using the Storm, and this allows me to control it with an integration much more interactive with the device, and it's much more fun to use, and it's much more powerful. And again, it's two-way communication. So use integrations when you can. Keep looking for them if they're not out there, and you are going to love this remote. So stick with it. Again, leave me a message in the comments if you have questions and have other things you're struggling with, and I'll try and put together more of these to help others. So that's all for today. Make sure you like and subscribe. There's going to be more coming. And see you soon.